So in Tableau, when it opens a new worksheet, you can see your data sets on this left panel, top left panel. Then you have your table data, and you can see the columns from the data set, the data table as fields here. We had age, cabin class, gender, and survived, and automatically designed the type and the row. So the type can be I don't know, these are all characters, these are numbers. This type can be either date or state or things like that, like geographical point. And you will see later that they have different icons, and then it differentiate the roles of these data. So these blue ones are those known as independent variable, or what we have for like X, and these are the dependent variables you might have. The green ones are dependent variable, the blue ones are independent variable. And then because these are automatically generated, you might want to change them or edit them in some ways, like editing the names, moving them, changing the type, and so on. Then in this page we have these shelvings, the columns and the rows, and they are in order. So the columns are those that the holding the variables you want to add to your column, and the rows to hold those variables you want to have for your rows, or like Y and X, you might say. Then we have these marking cards. They're called cards because they look like cards, and they are designed to mark the points, so they are marking cards. And this way here you can mark the points. You have the data points based on the color, size. You can label them. You can set what you want to be shown when you hover over those data, and based on the data visualization type you're using, you can set the detail of that type. And then finally, this is the main canvas you are going to use. You can easily drag and drop your fields here and see what happens. And then here is a really cool place to show me. I will get back to it later, but it's like a fast toolkit that helps you to generate different visualizations based on your data. Okay, so first is to check some general things of your data. When you have this data, I have a table, I have a data set, and what do I actually need to visualize? That's a good question. You can simply begin with like more simple questions, like, okay, I have this Titanic data visualization, and maybe the first question is, how many people survived? So how do I do that? And then I'll tell you, I'll get back to that later. Okay, and then everything in Tableau is simply drag and drop. So how many people survived? I have this survive as my column X, so whether they survived or not, and then the survivals. Oops, what happened? So getting back to the data source we had, this survival column has a set of number 1 and a set of number 0. And so what here happens is it counts those survivals, because it's a summation, and it counts those, add up those ones, and the add up ones was like 700, around 700, and because all the no's were 0, the summation would be 0 too. So it looks like that everyone survived, but it's wrong. what we do now is to change this summation into some other arithmetic operation. So first of all, we call these dragged data sources as pills. So this is a survived pill, this is sum of survived pills. Okay, so we are going to change the calculation. The measures is sum here, so I don't want the sum, I want the count of yes and no's. So the count, voila. Now we see that like more than not all of the passengers survived, clearly. So, and then maybe we want to see, like, make it more beautiful. Okay, I have the survive. I can add the survive to the color, drag it here, and mark those points based on whether they survived or not, and change the color. So, and here you can see the legend here. I'm gonna drag it here for being able to like have them all at the same place, in the same place. Okay, so we now have a good visualization to answer our question. How many people survived? Around 700 survived, and around 1,500 didn't. But who were they? Who survived? So maybe I want to know whether they were men or women. What was the gender? So I drag and drop the gender in the column. And if you remember, I mentioned that these columns are somehow ordered. So if you change the position of these two, you can see that it's kind of better. Like this, I think. So among females, around 400, most of them survived, and like around 100 didn't, and this was quite reverse among male passengers. And then maybe we can add the class of survivals, see which classes survived the most. So I can add the cabin class here, or maybe in the middle. Yes, so we can see that it's tagged for each classes. So the first, like for the first, second, and third class in the crew, these are the number of survivors, and when you hover there, you can clearly see that it shows all the categorical information about the data set, the data points you're hovering on. And here you can see a quite insightful visualization for like who survived, and like general basic information about who survived, and how many people survived. And then we can add different things to it, like I can label each of these parts based on the age. So it's better to set them as color, so age as color. So, and then the survived as label. That's also not working. I think survived as color was better. Don't you think so? And then you can add things to the different markers, and then we have this like brief visualization. Sometimes then you want to save maybe your data set, so here we go for file, save as, and save your, I assume you cannot see this in obvious, but here you can save your Tableau workbook, and that is what we are looking for from you for your assignment. And then here in this below line, you can add new sheets for different types of visualizations if you want, for different questions specifically. And then you can add those sheets that you already made to a what is it called, dashboard thing, and have them side by side, maybe, because I didn't have any data visualization here, I couldn't. And then you can add some notes to them and have a notebook, like a story, write a story and see what happened in those visualization that you made. Then you can find quite interesting things in analyzing. Let's get back to the sheet one. In analysis, you can based on your data, you can I don't know, if you make a scatter plot for your data, you can add some trend lines to it and things like that for especially for your assignments. So here was a short quick introduction. Oh, I forgot this one. So here is really interesting thing we have in Show Me. It can generate automatically some kinds of data visualization for you, specifically when you choose your data. So for example, I want to have some data visualization. I don't know what, but I want something from those who survived and maybe their gender. And then I can select here the type of visualization I want, and it automatically generates something for me. It might not be true, you might need to change the things here, but it can be helpful for the first insight. Okay, so let's go for the group work questions.